So, Frank, for people who are tuning in to watch Symphonie Fantastique live online, it'd be great if you could just give us a little bit of a sort of brief historical context of the piece.
Well, very happy to do that, Chris. The piece is written in the 1830s. Berlioz thinks of something completely new, which is very typical of the era. He's one of the very first to write a proper romantic piece of music. He tells a story with his symphony, something that nobody else had done before him. It's a very romantic ideal of longing for a love that he can't get. He fell in love with an actress, Harriet Smithson, and he wrote this piece basically out of love and maybe even obsession for her. The first movement is called Reveries. It's his presentation of the theme that he links to the woman he's obsessed with or he loves. Depends how you look at it. There's a ball scene in the second movement. Third movement is quite special. It's him just lying in a field, thinking of Harriet Smithson or whoever. And then by the end of the movement, maybe we'll talk about it a bit later, he starts to think, does she want me? And then he gets a little bit depressed. He takes a bit of opium, which is absolutely forbidden, of course. And then the fourth movement is a dream, where he sees himself led to the gallows. And you hear the march. It's quite a terrifying thing in the orchestra. The fifth movement is then the dance of the Sabbath, witches dancing, and his love appears to be one of the witches. And you hear church bells ringing the Dies Irae, which is from the Catholic Mass for the dead. The Day of Wrath coming to, it's the last day, the Day of Judgment at the end of times. So a lot of references. And this is sort of the outline of the piece.
And I'm thinking about the music then.
Yeah.
Is there anything unusual about the orchestration, the instruments that you wrote for?
There's 4 bassoons involved, which is quite special. There's 4 harps involved, which you hardly ever see. That's especially for the ball scene. You need those 4 harps. And the most remarkable thing is in the beginning of the fourth movement, when the artist is led to the gallows in his dream. Berlioz wrote for 4 timpani and 4 timpani players. There you get all these drums from all around the concert hall, and it's a terrifying moment, and that's quite special, especially in the orchestration. Of course, Berlioz was a very famous orchestrator. He wrote a book about orchestration, which is still being used for composition students, orchestration students. Conductors need to read it. It's still part of the literature for artists nowadays. And for me, one of the finest moments in the piece, actually in the beginning of the third movement, in terms of orchestration, as I said, he envisions himself lying in a field, and he hears very close by, he hears a shepherd playing the cor anglais, playing the oboe. And a bit further away, another oboe answers. And Berlioz writes that the other oboe should be put off stage. So you actually, if you're in the concert hall, there you hear 2 different, there is a distance to the second oboe. And you hear this calling and answering, which is quite, I think it's very, very beautiful, it's very touching. And the most touching is in the end of the movement, when he's doubting, does she love me? Is there a chance for me? That the shepherd nearby is calling again and again, and the other oboe doesn't answer anything.
Is there anything else particularly that students should look out for when they're watching the piece?
I think if you're watching online, make sure you know exactly the story. That you know how the story develops, because Berlioz himself is quite specific about it. If you go to Wikipedia or anything, you can find the story once again, or in your textbooks, wherever you want to find it. But read it before you're going to listen, because once the symphony starts, just let yourself be taken by the emotion by Berlioz, and experience the piece, the emotions are so clear and they touch you so intensely that I like especially this aspect of being swept away by this fantastic symphony.
Great. Thank you very much, Frank.
Thanks, Chris.